meeting minutes, meeting notes. What are they? How do you write them? How do you actually run a proper site meeting? All this in today's episode. Let's get into it. Welcome to What the RFI. I'm Matt Brennan, and this is the podcast all about CA. So today is about meeting minutes, meeting notes. Pick and choose what you want to call. We're going to go into those details in a second, but this is continuation of the 3-part series, all about meeting minutes, meeting notes, how to write them, how to run your first meeting. And the last episode, we went into meeting notes that are using AI, right? We talked about Granola AI, and we went through a full demo of it, how it works, how I work in this workflow. And like I said, this was a 3-part series where we started with the AI function out of it. Today, we're going to get into actually writing the meeting notes and kind of why the value, why you even do this. And then the next episode's all about kind of that first site kickoff meeting. So once you kind of do this little session, these 3-part meetings, these podcasts, you're going to have a clear understanding where to go. So definitely check out the links below. We'll have the links of the previous episode with the Granola AI. And if you want to take that product out for a test drive, there is a referral link in there. It helps the show, gives you a free month. Fantastic. And I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised and how efficient it works. We actually are just moving our whole office over to it. So it's definitely got a lot of merit to it. Okay. And again, like the last episode, I am going to do some screen sharing. I will do my best to describe this. So do check this on the YouTube channel, What the RFI. Subscribe if you haven't been there. Give it a like, comments, all that kind of stuff too. So let's get right into this. What are meeting notes? And first of all, I keep saying meeting notes, meeting minutes. Like, why? What's the difference, Matt? Well, meeting minutes are contractual completely. It's transcripts of transcripts, right? Meeting minutes would be somebody at a courthouse doing, on their typewriter, laying that all out. It is to the T. He said this, she said this, period. Meeting notes from a legality side of things are a little bit more loose because they're my notes compared to your notes. So if I do make an errors and omissions, there's a little bit of flexibility. So that's I refer them as meeting notes because they're my notes that how this site meeting or the client meeting went. Okay. So that's kind of the difference between the two. And the big thing is why do we even have meeting notes? Well, it's a contractual document that allows us to go back in time and basically refer versus having Jim saying, I said this and I said this. We can go back to this documentation and going through the minutes here, we can actually see who said what action was taking place and who was to follow up and that kind of stuff. So it just gives an agenda to a site meeting, lets us run through certain critical issues, make notes, and you'll see this more in a second once we get into it on the screen sharing side of things, okay? And the big question, and this is one of those arguments that I've had a lot of discussions with listeners and clients and friends and et cetera, and is who runs the site meeting? I have some people enjoy the contractor running. No problems. It's nice when they run it because then I can sit back and actually relax and just do the work as is. As the architectural on record, the firm that's taking part of this project, it's nice to do the minutes, meeting notes right there. You to control it. And the value of that is that, if you're fair and just, you're not going to basically throw anyone under the bus in that necessary. Okay. You're going to keep it clean. You're going to be fair and just. I find with some of the contractor site-led meetings, their information is not correct, right? Matt, you're responsible for 10 outstarting RFIs. Actually, there's only 2, and they're 2 brand new ones. So by doing it, you're being fair to the logs. You're being fair to what's actually critical, what's out there. You're actually driving what the critical items are. And we'll get into this when we actually draft up the minutes here. But you lose that control of that site meeting. And I don't like that. And again, I'm not a micromanagement individual, but there is some value of running those site meetings. So I would encourage you, if you're not doing it right now, I would encourage you to start looking into it and see how you can do that. It definitely varies per contract. We do a lot of STIP-SUM CCDC2 contracts here out in BC. And in that case, then yes, we will run the meetings no matter what. We insist we do it. Okay. Now, when it comes to contract management type of jobs, and again, we've done episodes of this in the past, so check them out. That's where we do let the contractor run it. But again, they're the contractor running it. And I've been in many of those meetings where they have noted so many outstanding items and their logs are not updated. They're not even matching what our logs are. And it's very frustrating because you want to talk about the real items of business. We don't want to kind of be discussing logs and who's actually up to date right now. That's not acceptable. We want to get into it. Okay. And the other thing too, with your site meetings, sometimes they're ran by online, usually on site, of course, and sometimes a bit of a mixture of a hybrid, which is nice. So you may be on site, but then you may have a couples just joining online because they're needed there for like one or two questions. But ideally, when we do all these site meetings, we do want all consultants be participating into it. Maybe landscape, they might be the ones that we would kind of excuse at the end. And then same thing, structural, we'll want them at the very beginning, but eventually they'll fade off because the building's built, right? So it comes in waves. But you as the CRP, the architect director, of course, you're going to be running, you're going to always be at each of those minutes. Now, with these site meetings, what software would you use to write these? Well, again, we kind of last episode, we talked about AI meeting minutes, right? Meeting notes and how those note takers can come in, they can do some good stuff. But at the end of the day, you still need control, right? You still need to put the right information in there. And yes, there are some great tools like Decisions and like Fathom. They do all the video recording. We talked about Granola AI, where it's kind of a hybrid, where it lets you type the notes, but then it takes AI transcripts and then fills in the gaps, which is very, very fantastic. Those are great for just kind of casual meetings. I wouldn't hold that true to being for our final site meeting notes, because that's what we're going to get into today. But I would definitely run it in the background. So if I ever need to check something, I can. Okay. In terms of an actual minute application software, I've looked, I haven't found anything. I'm going to go back to Microsoft Word or Max Pages. Those are the two defaults. It's on your, it's free. It's on your computer already, and it's great. But if you've got a great application that fills out the numbers and sequences and everything, let me know. I'd love to check it out and do a review of it. But at this point, I'm going to be featuring everything on Microsoft Word because, again, it's the application of choice. We have it, and it just makes sense. Okay. Now, before we jump into the site meeting, one thing I like to do is I like to prepare my agenda. And what I mean by this is I take the previous site meeting, I copy that Word document, the one that was finalized, I give it today's date or the site meeting date and note it as agenda. And I go through there and I clean up the logs. So I start to look at the RFI logs and the shop drawings and everything, old business, and I clean it up to the best of the way you are. And I'll show you how to do that kind of part 2 of today's video of how I'd set it up for meeting number 26 or whatever we'll get into. Okay. But that's kind of the plan of approach that we would go into this. We'd start off with this agenda. We would email that to the team kind of a day before, maybe the morning. I would physically print that, bring double-sided pages, bring them to the site trailer. And then once we get there, we get right into it. Okay. And like I said, I do run Granola in the background just to capture any miscellaneous things that I missed. Sometimes in the moment you're typing up so much, you can only take in so much as a human being. So let's get into it. Again, highly recommend you checking out the YouTube one here. I'm just going to share my screen here. And here we go. So here is what the RFI agenda. Okay, so we've arrived on site. We got our PPE on. We get in there, the meeting's starting at 11 a.m. On June 11th or whatever the date is, and we're ready to go, okay? So the first thing I'm going to take note is I'm going to see who's in the room. We've got this kind of who's present for the meeting. This is good to refer. Was the client on site? Was it not? In that sense. So at this point, what I like to do is this is just a little table in Microsoft Word in that respect. And I would just say they're present. Maybe Dwight was present. The contractor, Jim, was present. Mr. Architect was present. I was present. Pam from Beef Civil was present. And then Ryan from Structural. He wasn't required. He wasn't there, but definitely Bob, who's our mechanical engineer. And we got Roy, who's electrical, and landscape. Toby was not there. So you're going to just basically do a roll call. Who's there? You're going to see it. You can do it. Again, if you're running a Teams meeting, you're going to have that in that. You'll see them on that. And again, yes, all their emails are on this. So anytime anyone wants to get in touch with them afterwards, everyone's got a record of where they can reach these individuals. Okay. So once we've kind of done that, which you can do that before you actually officially start the meeting, it's 11 o'clock. Let's get and start this meeting. And this is where I like to break up agenda sections. Okay. And ideally, I've rearranged my actual notes to be one kind of continuous group. But again, it depends. You want to put your brand, your flair to it. Go nuts with this. But this is where it is. So our first section is called the general section. Well, this is where you may maybe want to know, maybe people are on holidays. Maybe there's welcome to the team, welcome Heather to the group. She's going to be taking lead on some of these jobs. Maybe you want to put that as just an FYI. Matt is going on holidays in August. Okay. And you would note this as just, and from there, this is going to be the item tracking number. And I'll get into this as we go through this. And then also the action by. Is there an action item? This is just information. Nothing. Nobody needs to go from there. Okay. And the other thing too, I would highly recommend turning off Grammarly as doing this. I find this, I use Grammarly to help out throughout the day and everything with my task. But when I'm doing my meeting minutes, it's not necessarily accurate. It's not really word friendly because I'm more just doing point forms to the point. And eventually you're going to start to train your brain like this. The next agenda item is site safety and security. So typically I would like to have no site safety incidents, right? There was no, nothing on site. No one hurt themselves. Okay. Maybe there was when we bring this up, I'm assuming there's no site safety there, Jim. Actually, break in over the weekend. Some tools were stolen. Okay. Maybe there was someone fell off a ladder. We want to record that. We want to document. We don't want to know what's happening. If we have any site safety concerns that we have our own, we can bring it up. But again, it's just high level. That's all it is. It's just to make sure that things are going smooth on site and that. And maybe there was an insurance claim. So that's where we want to involve the school district. So SD to follow up on insurance. Okay. Next item. Let's go in. So now we get into the schedule, and this is where I find the meeting not necessarily stalls, but we do take a lot of time. Sometimes we blast through this. Sometimes as we get closer to the end of the project, we definitely want to make sure this is very clear. Okay. So first thing I always have in my agendas is 4-week outlook. And I always keep the previous meeting and then eventually I'll copy and delete the old one. So we always have one previous site meeting in here. So 4-week outlook, we say high level contractor, what you've got going, and basically on ongoing exterior flat works, interior millwork arriving, flooring, etc. Put as much as you want. Don't have to be detailed. It's just more high level. This at this point is just telling the team boarding in level 2. These little indicators are great because then, hey, you're about to board. I want to get my field review out there. So this is just basically getting the conversation going, knowing what they're expecting through this, and ideally just trying to get some clarity on it. Another 2 sections that I like to include in the schedule is BC Hydro, which is our power, and Fortis Gas, which is our basically utility gas, natural gas. Okay. And if you get anything else from a utility application, I like to put this in. And I put this kind of the first meeting because these are the two, mainly my electrical is getting power to the building for some reason. Even though you're so proactive during your design stage, your electrical engineers involved in communicating. This can hold up a project. This can hold up a substantial of a project ready for takeover and so on. So I like to keep track of it because if I just leave it out of there, eventually I'll find out too late if we're not on target. So over my meetings, I'll have, oh yeah, we got an update that the designer's been assigned to the project. The next meeting, we had a target date of July 2026. Hey, we're in July right now for this meeting. And then we would go, okay, contractor, how are we doing with this, right? Where are we at? Yeah, we just got a notice of permit delay. They are scheduled for August 11th. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to note that. We want to keep track because our next site meeting, when we come back to this, and we're past that August 11th, what's the plan? What are we doing? Because we're trying to get this in for occupancy or whatever the case is. So it's great. Maybe we want to have our contractor. So in this case, it's Dunder Construction DC. And again, use abbreviations DC to follow up. And this is where under the actions, rather than being info, we're going to put DC in this case. And then we do the same thing with the Fortis and we go through the list. If one thing eventually, when we're getting about 3-4 months before the project is closing up, I like to put key construction schedule targets. So again, we want to make sure that certain elements of this project is being followed up. So we're not missing that target date for August 10th occupancy or whatever the case is. Okay. And maybe over time, you'll have other items like, hey, August 5th, with portables we move. The contractor was review the provide the schedule to the school district. And sometimes when these things come up, I just go, how are we doing this? Yeah, it's on track for next week. Fantastic. Ahead of schedule. So put your notes in. Again, it's no action item, it's an ongoing thing. And, we as the architect, RFIs gathering S1000 quotes, and we'll review this with the school district. So again, for doing that final testing for the occupancy. So these are kind of like the schedule items we like to talk about. The most important one is basically the 4-week outlook. And then these two. And then again, as you get near the end of the project, we're going to talk about key construction milestone dates and just make sure that we're not slipping schedule. Okay. If we do get an updated construction schedule and the schedule has changed, we'll want to talk about that during this portion of it. So like I said, I think you can start to see why the schedule aspect you can get stuck on, because depending on how it is, this is one of the most important sections to talk about right at the get-go and where it changes. The next one, we may have a progress claim for the end of the month. It's nice just to keep this on record. How are we doing? Progress claims has come in. We're waiting for the consultants, whatever the case is, waiting for the contract. Again, it's just 1-2 lines. That's all it is, and the way we document it. Next one is shop drawings, submittals, right? How are we doing? Okay, so we got shop drawing 77, signage. It's in review. The school district note that they don't want a racing wheelchair. They just want more of a standard wheelchair symbol. Great. RFI to review and return. Okay. We also have another shop drawing of 100 for appliances. We're reviewing it. The school district noted that appliances are to be white. Great. So we will follow up and return that. Okay. Maybe this was electrical needing to review it. So EE to review before returning. And again, as you're going to see, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put a slash, and it's the two of us. We're both responsible for this. So that's the idea. Through this, and we'll go about tips and tricks at the end, but we don't want to having long listed items of all these outstanding shop drawings that are not being returned. They should just be what's current and what's fresh. So we go through this, and this should match our logs, and that's why we keep track of our logs for our RFIs, submittals, etc. And then eventually, when we're drafting up the meeting agenda, we're looking at that log and just inputting over here. So it's very clear. And again, this is why by us doing these meeting notes, allows us control the meeting in that sense. Next topic is the proposed changes, any pricing items. And this is probably the second section that does get really hung up on. Depends on how much outstanding items are there. Okay. So we would go in. So rather, we here in BC, we call them CCNs, contemplating change notices, versus probably in the US, you're calling them as proposed changes, right? This is one of those languages that just changes between job to job, state to state, country to country. Okay. So they're all over the map in that sense. And they can even be, anyways, it just changes. Okay. So that's my proposed change is also being referred as a CCN. Okay. So we issued a CCN for concrete replacement at the front entry. Basically, that first meeting number 17, we said waiting for pricing. In the second meeting, number 18, ongoing, pricing to follow in 2 weeks. And eventually, waiting for pricing, 178 days overdue. And then we got pricing received in review, waiting for civil to review the pricing. And we are good for this meeting. We just basically, everyone's on board. We're in the process of issuing that final change order. So that's what we're going to do. It's in our case to put it together. We go to the next item. CCN 33, court door revisions. You can see there's some history here that's been grayed out. And we just got the quote in review, working with the door hardware consultant. So put your notes. Again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Keep it simple. And as you can see, I'm doing this with talking to you and I'm writing it. Do the same thing in your meeting. If you can bring your laptop and do these in live action, you're going to save a lot of time. It's fresh. Keep it in there. Sometimes you know what I do if there's a little bit more I want to add to this, just highlight the whole thing. And then at that point, you can always go back and find it really quick and then go from there. Okay. And you just basically run through your items. And again, if there's like for some reason we get a new item at the end, we've got some requests for extras, some additional changes, and maybe we've got the contractor saying, I've got a new change order coming, right? Another request extra. No problem. Right in the meeting, you can start to add your rows, and basically DC2 has requested an extra for some additional pumps. Okay, so DC, and then basically the final action, I make sure it's really clear, DC to formalize quote and submit. Okay, and of course I would retag this and make it black because it's brand new. Again, it's something that's not in the past. At that point, it would be noted as that. So this is a good section. We kind of, like I said, we go through, we want to document the pricing. It definitely can take some time. Hopefully you don't have so many outstanding pricing items, but if you do, you got to go through them. And each item, like keep it to a minimum of a minute or two. Like we don't want to, the more items on this, the meeting's going to go longer. So sometimes it's just simple. Are we on track? Waiting for revised pricing. Any updates? Yeah, it's coming in the week. Great. I'll note that. And pricing coming in the week. The next one is the beautiful RFIs. What the RFI, I tell you. This is, again, where we want to track our RFIs that are outstanding, that we haven't closed off. You can see that RFI 193, elevator remote recall switch. In review, switch is not required. We were to respond. We would be typing this as is. RFI 199, curve from previous contract. Civil is reviewing it, waiting for civil. And they noted, hey, we got a CSI to follow. Fantastic. And that's kind of how we're going to just keep noting this. Again, noting who's responsible for this in that respect and who we're waiting for. If the contractor says, I got a new RFI coming, great, put it in the notes just as an FYI as you're there. But you're going to go through this, and hopefully this is nice and short and sweet because, again, we don't want to have anything outstanding. Once we start seeing like 3-4 meetings that we've talked about the same RFI, that's a problem. That means the RFI is not being resolved, and maybe it's because of you, maybe it's because of the consultant, but it becomes embarrassing. Let's just be very honest here. We want these RFIs in and out, and these should always just be fresh, right? It all depends. And you can see when I did this draft of this meeting agenda, I had 3 brand new fresh ones and then 3 that were in review because we're waiting on for a consultant or whatever the case is. Now, at this point in the meeting, we've really covered a lot of the items already from as in terms of new business that we already been talking about. But now this was the point where the meeting kind of moves over and directs it to everyone in the room if they've got any new business. Because a lot of the old business would be already what we've already talked about, from the scheduling and changes to RFIs, etc. And you're starting to see that. So then we get into the owner. So we turn to the owner. He's the one that's paying for the project. What do you got, right? SD, this was the previous meeting. SD required about the ACM cladding. The contractor is going to review this next week. Item is closed. Note this, because this is really important, because when we get into the next agenda here, I'm just going to look through these and just strike these off, because I don't want to talk about this again. We don't need to talk about closed items. So in this meeting, we've concluded it, and then away we go. And the contractor confirmed that the brick flashings have been ordered. DC to issue some photos to us, what the RFI, and forward to the city for inspection. Contractor says they're installed on site. Item is complete and closed. Maybe we're going to say what the RFI to follow up with the city, whatever you want to do. But the point is that we're just trying to get these items closed. Do we have to talk about it again? Is there something we need to look after the meeting in that respect? So we'll go through the whole entire owner items, and this is where I definitely come in here and I, add a whole bunch of rows, because usually the owner will come in and add a whole bunch of new business, right? Bang, 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 bang. Sounds great. Who's responsible? And away we go. Next, it's the contractor's turn. Contractor, is there anything we haven't talked about that we've already discussed? No, because they're not going to talk about scheduling, because we already talked about that. Usually they don't. Maybe they'll have something. Maybe they'll be like, oh, hey, we have a condition in the learning stairs room where we want to see some trim reveal. Let's go look at it after the meeting. Put just a general note in there. Note it. Great. And then at that point, we move on to the architectural side. Oh, Matt's going to be on vacation from August 15th to 19th. Maybe we want to note that we're in discussions with the city. We're going to bring them out for the walkthrough for this. Whatever you want to do, the point is note it, get it in there into the meeting notes, right? And then we follow up with a civil, and we follow up with structural. If they don't have anything to say, because it's already been talked and addressed, all I do is put no new items, and it's for information. So you get just a lot of these: no information, no new business, no new business. But this is kind of like your last call, mechanical, electrical, anything that you want to bring up. Maybe electrical will say, I will be on site next week. We move to electrical, and they say, hey, we're to follow up on electrical pump. For some pump that's needed, the contractor's going to follow up, whatever the case is. And then eventually we wrap up on landscape, any geotechnical items, any building envelope items. We're done the meeting. And then kind of just a final. Any last things? Nope. Fantastic. Time, well, it ran till 11:50. Great. Next meeting is August 7th at 9 a.m. on site, and then your disclosure. And the meeting is done. Shut her down, get up, do your site walk. We'll talk about that on another episode. And then basically you'll kind of clean up. And then you're going to get to the office. Okay. You're going to open up your laptop. And then at this point, we are going to do this again. Now we open up this agenda here, and we know, it's meeting notes. We had all that. Now the one thing I need to do is I need to start adding the numbers. So this was 2304. So in this case, this would be 2304. The next one is going to be 23.05. And this is what I'm saying. If you got an application that does this automatically, I'd love to see it. Definitely it can be a challenge in that sense, but honestly, it doesn't take much time. And I do this at the very end, because if anyone starts adding little notes in between things, you do your numbers while you're doing the meeting, you have to redo them. So I just leave it to the end. So basically at this point, I go through all these numbers. I make sure maybe that after the site meeting, we did talk about something. Maybe I'll put it following the site meeting. We met on site and we discussed this and we wrapped it up. Item is closed. That's okay. Put it in there, because you kind of still had the conversation. It's not live right in the meeting, but it's just kind of the general notes. Once you're done this, then yes, you would throw it into Bluebeam, and maybe we'd create a PDF of this. We would email this to everyone saying, here's the meeting notes. Everything's good to go. and way the way it is. So at that point, that would be coming into place. Looks all good. The beam would pop it up, PDF it, and yeah, there you go, right? Send it off, and the way the team goes. Now, we wrap this up for this meeting. That was fantastic. Now, a month has passed. We're going to go to site meeting number 24. So what I would do is I'd open up the notes. I would go save as. I just love how Word takes me everywhere. So now this is going to be renamed to 24 agenda. And then we get right up here. And of course, we are going to change this. And this takes me about 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depends what's going on. So again, change your date. So we said it was going to be the August 11th. Okay, it's on site. It's at 11. Nope, it's not 11. It's actually 9. We change it to the client. Great. And then of course, we're going to just delete all these because we're going to prepare it. And then really simple, I'm just going to go like that. And this probably be no new items. And again, there was, because we had to follow up on the school, just had to follow up. There was something that needed new line. I would just go update, put a question mark, and the previous line, because it's still in there, I'm going to turn it. I use my favorite kind of medium gray, light gray, and I gray it out. So this is all prepared. When I get into that meeting, I can update this. And then same thing, the 4-week outlook. What I do is I go 4-week outlook. I delete the grayed out zone. Oops. And again, it is challenging on a trackpad, but you get it. I gray that out. I delete the 22 because that was not where meeting is. And then we get that ready. And then same thing, we just kind of go through the minutes. Now, if I scroll down the list here and I see anything that is closed, these guys, I just go in there, hit my backspace, gone. It deletes it from the table, okay? And basically clean it up. Same thing for the RFIs or CCNs or SIs or whatever. I pull up my logs. I see where I'm at. Oh, RFI in 193 was returned, so I'm not even going to talk about this. This one was returned. This one's ongoing. Maybe there's something. What is it? But I'm preparing myself. Again, I would highlight it. I would shade it and go on. And you're starting to see this history. So I would do all this, get this all set up. Again, I would export this as the agenda. I would email it to everyone, save it as, and call it now notes. I go to site, I open it up, and then we can carry on with this. So that's kind of the little demo portion, how I run a site meeting as I go through these items, how I record it, how I document it. Like I said, I bring my physical laptop on site. If I have to plug in. I have maybe Teams running. I have Granola AI running. And at that point, I do that live. And that's it. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And that kind of concludes, the demo portion of this. Now, kind of some tips during the meetings, some common mistakes I see from individuals. It's one is keep your meeting anywhere from 30 to say 60 minutes. This is an expensive meeting. Think about who's in the room. It's all your consultants. There's about, anywhere from 10 to 15 people. It's a very expensive meeting. So let's be concise. Let's be to point. Let's get into it and go from there. Okay. If a topic can't be resolved in kind of that 2-3 minutes mark, that's where we're going to have to sidebar it. We're going to have to take it offline and we're going to have to talk about it after the meeting, or maybe a follow-up email or something like that. It's good to get some of these items resolved. It's very powerful. It's great. If we can save an RFI, then fantastic. Sometimes it is worth it. So it's a judgment call in that respect. But keep in mind, the more you go on these side tangents, you're wasting everyone's time. That hour is approaching. So you've got to just be a good judge of character to it. I find meetings in 30 minutes, unless it's like a brand new job and it's very little, it typically doesn't happen. just because of how much you have to talk into it. But a typical job, a typical school that I'm working on will take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And again, sometimes I've seen them go up to 2 hours. And we have some people that like to talk. Sometimes eventually you just got to be blunt, whether it's call it rude or not, but just point out that time to move on. We got to go. Okay. So again, let's just keep it to that point. Writing, don't write a transcript versus decisions. Like, again, you can see my notes are very clean, very to the point, and what they need to be. Have direction. Make sure you're tagging who is involved in that respect, what needs to be done. And as we kind of go through those sections, make sure as you kind of wrap it up, as we noted, that's kind of old business, and just put out there, is there any new business? Is there any new RFIs upcoming we should be aware of? Owner, do you have any new items? Yeah, I got my own list. Right, let's document it, put one by one, put it in there, get it in the notes, okay? And like I said, note who should be responsible for that action item. That's really important, of course, as well. And most items like RFIs and submittals, they shouldn't carry from meeting as we went over. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes a shop drawing can go for some time. Maybe it's with the owner. Owners are slow to make decisions, or they have to go through other third party, or they got to go to a social event with a group and everything, user group meetings and that stuff, and bring it forward. It all varies, right, in that respect. Okay. But just keeping it track that these are things moving forward. When you get back to the office, write your notes, get them done, get them distributed right away. Very, very important. And don't wait 3-4 days. Don't wait a week. You're not going to remember all the intimate details that went into that. So that's where Granola AI helps. But again, ideally, just get those minutes in, get them processed, and get them out. And before I process them, one little tip I find that's really helpful is what I like to do is I like to, as I'm going through it, if there's any action items, Matt, to return this RFI, we talked about, I got direction. Great. Take that and quickly put that in, and then away we go. And those are kind of things that are very helpful as you're going through these, writing this out. You're basically completing and wrapping it up. And what I like to do with that is just concluding. It's done in that respect. And that's a good way to kind of just complete those, get them in, get them done, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? So I always allow extra time in my schedule for that, okay? And like I said, I physically block the calendar off for that. So in closing and wrapping up this episode, every site meeting needs to be tracked. End of story. Even design meetings, sometimes client meetings, but formally tracking this is definitely your site meetings. If I just do one-on-one owner calls, I'll just use Granola AI to kind of do those meetings and take the notes from that and then paste it over. But it's a similar format that we're facing here. Right? We're still following that. Okay. And again, I highly recommend you do the notes right in the meeting, type them up and get them out and distribute right away. You don't have to be crazy detailed, but just get it to the point. Make those decisions, make it happy. And be sure to check out that Granola AI application video, right? How the AI wrote notes, and then you can search over all the meetings. It's really cool. Go check it out. Links in the description, or try it out. The affiliate links there and that. But I hope you learned something like this. Drop in the comments, send me notes. I'm always interested in seeing how you guys record these meeting minutes, meeting notes, and what your applications you're doing, and if there any tips and tricks. It was something I kind of personally developed over the years and looked at how others were doing it, and basically came up with a system. So happy to share it with you guys and that. But last but not least, architects, keep designing. Contractors, keep making those blueprints reality. We'll see you on the next one.